So far you have seen what is Cypress and how to install Cypress and how to use the Cypress Studio to record and replay the automation test. And also you have seen how to create the first Cypress automation test and how to create the logs in the Cypress. And also we have seen how to run the Cypress automation test on the different browsers. In this Cypress tutorial full course, chapter 2, we are going to see how to disable the fetch and XHR logs in the Cypress test runner. Next, we are seeing how to use the Intellisense or intelligent auto code completion in the Cypress automation framework. So basically, this is one of the important configuration what you need to do in the Cypress automation framework. And next, we are seeing what are the different type of assertions are available, how to use them. Then next, we are going to see what are the different types of selectors we have and how to use in the Cypress tool. And then we are going to look into the Xpath, how to use the Xpath in the Cypress automation framework. So basically we have to use the Cypress hyphen Xpath. So that is one of the plugin what we need to use in the Cypress automation framework to use the Xpath. And then we are going to see how to run the Cypress test from the VS Code. And then we are going to see how to handle the dropdowns in the Cypress. And then we are going to see how to work with the iframes in the Cypress automation testing. Then finally, we are seeing how to scroll down or scroll up in the Cypress automation framework. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to disable the fetch and XHR logs in the Cypress automation test execution. If you see here in this test runner, so let me open the test runner. So if I execute all the tests here, and it is displaying the fetch and XHR logs. So which is not required in our case. So if you see here test execution, so it is displaying XHR and even there is a fetch logs. So currently it is executing the first test and now it is executing the my first test 2 also. And if you see the logs of the my first test 1, so let it complete the whole execution, then I will show you. So what I'm talking about the fetch and XHR logs, because these logs are not required in our automation testing. So we will see what is the solution, how you can disable all these XHR and fetch logs. And if you see the output here, so our 2 tests are getting passed. So I will navigate to the test 1 now. And if you see the logs here, so it is printing XHR, fetch. So like this, it is printing many XHR and fetch logs. So if you look at the test what we have written in the VS Code, just give me a few seconds guys. So it is loading the VS Code now. Yeah. So if you look at this, my first test 1, so we have created only 3 logs. In the line number 5, we have created 1 log. And in the line number 7, we have created a log. And in the line number 12, we have created a log. So it has to display all these logs and Cypress command it has to display. And in our case, it is simply displaying the other logs also, XHR and fetch. So solution for this problem is you can simply take this snippet code and you can keep it inside the support folder. Inside that we have the e2e.js file. So we need to copy this particular code and we need to add it inside the e2e.js file. So I will copy this particular code now and I will go to the VS Code. Under the support folder, so we are having the e2e.js file. So simply I will open the file and I will add it here. So no need to worry about this code. So I will provide this code in the GitHub repository. You can get this code from the testers.github page. So in my case, my system is a bit slow today, so it is taking a little bit of time to respond. So I have added this particular snippet of code in the e2e.js file, and then I will save it and I will close this particular e2e.js file. Now what I will do is I will simply close this particular test runner. We will relaunch the test runner once again because we have made some configuration changes. So here once again I will execute the command. So I will say yes. Then once again I will say npm run Cypress open. So it will take some time and it will opens up the Cypress window and it will open the browser as well with the test runner. So it is taking little time. Let's wait for some time. So usually it will not take this much of time, but it depends on the your computer and configurations also sometimes. So if you look at here, so it has opened the Cypress window, and here we have to select the E2E testing, and then we can select the browser. Then we can re-execute the our Cypress automation test, and we can validate whether fetch and XHR logs are displaying in the Cypress test execution. So here I'll say start E2E testing in Chrome, and that's it. So it has opened the Chrome browser now, and if you see here in the top left, Chrome is being controlled by automated test software. So it is getting hanged sometimes. So that is fine. That's not a problem. So we got the test runner now. Let's select the spec file and it will start loading the all the test suite and Cypress automation test cases. Okay guys, if you see over here, so it is started executing the my first test one and it is printed the log as well. So test one is started and then it is navigating to the youtube.com now, and it is a heavy loaded application because it has lots of video content, and loading that it takes some time definitely, and it will search with the JavaScript by test stock, then it will hit the search icon. So now it is executing the my first test 2. So we will validate whether after adding the this particular configuration in the e2e.js file, whether it is displaying the XHR and fetch logs in the Cypress test execution. So this time it will not display the all those logs. So let's look at the steps, and if you see the steps, so steps are very much clear now. So firstly it is printing the test one is started. So this log is coming from the our VS code, and if you see here, so this is where we are printing, and it is executing the visit command. So if you see the log, so it is going to this particular website, and again we have written another log, and then it is executing this particular Cypress command, and at the end it is printing the log what we have created from the VS code. So this particular log is getting printed over there. So now if you look at the steps of the Cypress test, so these are very much clear. So this is how you can disable the XHR and fetch logs in the Cypress automation test execution. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to use Intellisense and intelligent code completion in the Visual Studio code for the Cypress automation test. So what does it mean, right? So here I will go to the VS Code. So this is a sample test what we have created in the previous session. So inside the CY, so we have lots of functions actually, but it is not suggesting all those functions currently, right? So these are the some functions what we have used or the keywords what we have used just now. So it is suggesting all those things, but there are many commands inside the CY dot. So currently it is not showing us all those commands or the functions. So how you can enable this particular feature in the VS Code for the Cypress automation test? So there are two solutions. One is simply we have to add this particular line, one line code in the JavaScript file in the beginning. So you need to add this particular line in the beginning of this particular JS file. So that is the one solution. And the second solution, how you can enable the auto completion code for the Cypress automation code is, so simply you need to create the jsconfig.json file in your project, and then you need to add this particular one line of code in the jsconfig.json file. So let's check this by using the first approach. So that we have to add a 3/ and followed by that we have to add the this particular tag. So that is a reference, and types we have to add the Cypress. So simply I will copy this particular line of code and I will go to the VS Code now. So we have to add this as the very first line in the JavaScript spec file. Then it will enable the Cypress command auto completion code, you will get it. So now I have added it and I have saved it. So that's it guys. Now let me just save this file, and now I will enter the cy dot. Now if you see here, so it's displaying all the commands and functions which are there inside the cy. So if I take example of just get, right, here I'll say get, and if you see the get method, and if I go on the right side, and also it is displaying the example how you can use the this particular get function. So it can be used for the assertion purpose also, right? So by seeing the example also you can get to know what is the usage of that particular command. So like this you can get all the auto completion code for the Cypress automation test. So this is a one way guys. So let me delete this particular line number 1 code, that's a 3/ and followed by that we have specified one tag. So this is a one way how you can use the intelligent code completion in the VS Code for the Cypress automation test. So we have the second solution. So simply you need to create the JSON config.json file, and we have to add this particular line of code in the inside this JSON file. So let's validate this one. So whether still that feature is enabled here or not. And if you see here, that feature is not enabled right now. So we have removed the line number 1. So that's the reason this again Intellisense feature is disabled. Now let's look at the second solution. So as I said, we need to create the JS config.json file we have to create at the root folder. So let's create the JSON file and let's add this particular line of code inside the file. So here I'm adding the JS config.json. So that's it. So I have added the one line of code, that is include, and followed by that within the square brackets we are specifying node underscore models Cypress, and we are adding the Cypress, followed by that one /* and followed by that star.js. So that's it guys. Now let's close this js config.json file. Now let's come back to the our JavaScript spec file. So what I will do is once again I will hit the cy dot, and if you see here, so it is started showing the auto completion code. So simply you can just type get, so it will display all the respective Cypress commands or the Cypress functions. So in the previous solution, right, guys, say for example, if you have created 10 JavaScript spec files, so you need to add the this particular line in all 10 JavaScript spec files. But so second solution is a one-stop solution. So you can create this particular file and add this one line of code inside the file. That's it, done. So I would suggest to use the second solution. So just create a one file, add this, sorry guys. So add this particular line of code, and that will be a one-stop solution for the to get the auto code completion in the VS Code for the Cypress automation test. So that's all I'm having in this session. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see assertions in the Cypress test automation. So firstly, we will see what are assertions and what are the different types of assertions we have in the Cypress automation testing. And finally, we will see all these examples with the real-time web applications. So let's understand what is assertions or what are assertions in the Cypress test automation. So assertions are used to compare the actual value and the expected value. Here actual value is nothing but the text message which we are getting it from the web page, and expected value is defined by the testers. And by using the assertions, you can verify whether web element is displayed in the web page or not. So these are the two main factors why we are using the assertions in the Cypress test automation. So let's look at the examples. What are the different ways of assertions we can perform in the Cypress automation testing? The very first one is two.equal. So by using the two.equal, we can assert the actual and expected data. So firstly, I'm using the cy.get. That's a Cypress command, cy, and followed by get. So here we are adding the CSS selector. Followed by that, we are using the then keyword. And basically, in this case, we are converting this into the element. By using this element, so here I'm calling to the method called text. So this will get the actual text message from the web page. Once we are having the actual data, so by using the two.equal, we are comparing with the expected value which is defined by the tester. So this is the very first type of assertion in the Cypress. And next one is by using the have.text, we can validate the actual and expected results. So similarly, we are identifying the web element by using the CSS selector, and I'm using the should keyword. And inside this, we are adding the have.text. So this particular have.text will gets the text from the web page of this particular selector, and it compares with the expected result. So basically, if these two values are not matching, and it will throw the assertion error. If actual value and the expected values are matching, then it will pass the test case. And similarly, we have the contain. And inside the should method, we are specifying the contain and the expected value. So it is almost a similar functionality we have by using the have.text and contain. So both the should method validates the actual and the expected results here. And moving on to the next type of assertion in the Cypress is b.visible. So in this case, we are firstly getting the web element by using the selector and by using the should keyword, that's a method, and simply we are adding the b.visible. So in this case, we are not verifying the actual and expected result. So simply we are validating whether this particular web element is present in the web page or not by using the b.visible. And the fifth assertion is have.html. So in this case, we are using the should method and have.html. So this will get this particular web element text message. That's a actual value, and here we are adding the expected value. So basically, it will compares this expected value and the actual value. If these two are matching, so our test will get pass. Otherwise, it will fail with the assertion error. And next one is have dot attribute. So in this case, what we are doing is, firstly, we are identifying the web element by using the selector, and we are comparing it by using the should method. And then we are using another keyword here, that is the and followed by that we are using the have dot attr. So here we are checking this particular web element is having the value as the another attribute or not. If this particular web element has the value as attribute, then in that case our test will get pass. If this particular web element does not have the value attribute, then our test will get fail. And similarly, so what we have done is, in the next example we are using the have dot attribute and the include. So here we are validating this particular web element is having the this particular value as an attribute. Then this particular attribute should have the this particular text message in it. So this is what we are validating. And the final one is 2 dot have dot length. So in this case, firstly we are identifying the web element by using the selector. Then we are converting this into the element type. And once we are having the element, so we are getting the text of the web element. And here we are using the 2 dot have dot length. So basically we are validating the number of characters are there in this particular element. So in this case, we are considering the JavaScript by tester stock that has the expected result. So this has the 26 characters. So by using this 2 dot have dot length, you can verify the number of characters are there in the actual and expected results. So let's go to the VS Code and we'll see all these examples in the VS Code with the real-time web page examples. So here I will quickly create one JavaScript spec file. So here I'll say Cypress assertion test. Then I'll say cy.js. So that's it. And here we will be creating the firstly test suite, and followed by that we are creating the test by using the it block. So we are creating the describe. By using this describe, we are creating the suite first. So let's add the suite name as Cypress assertion suite. So that's it, guys. Now here I will put the comma, and here I will add the function. So this is a shortcut for the function. And that's it. We have created the suite now. So let's create a one test by using the it block. So here I'll say it, and here we will add the automation test name. So here I'll say Cypress assertion test, and I will put comma, and followed by that, so here I will add the function. So this is a shortcut for the function. Then I will open the braces and I will close it. So that's it, guys. We have created the test suite by using the describe, and we have created a sample test by using the it block. Now let's discuss the manual scenario. Then we will automate the scenario, and we will assert the values by using all these different types of assertions in the Cypress automation testing. So let's discuss the manual scenario first. In this Google page, I'm searching with the JavaScript by tester stock. So that's it. So once we got the result, so simply I'm taking the some part of the URL, and I'm opening another tab and I'm pasting it here. So if we look at this particular web page, and in this text box, so there is a text displayed that is called JavaScript by tester stock. So in this case, what we are doing is we are going to this particular URL, and then we will identify this particular web element by using the CSS selector, and we will get this particular text and we will assert with the expected value. So let's go to this particular URL, and then we will identify this particular web element by using the CSS selector. So here I will go to the VS Code, and let's open the URL by using the cy.visit. In the single quotation, specify the URL. So firstly, we are going to this particular web page, and then we have to identify the this particular text box where text message is displayed. So simply I will right click on this and I will say inspect. And if you see here tag name is text area and it has lots of attributes and respective values. So here I'm using the one attribute called type is equal to search. So by using this attribute, I'm going to identify this particular text web element. So here I'll say Control F, and here I will add the first tag name text area, followed by that in the square brackets I will add the attribute name and followed by the value. So if you look at this particular CSS selector, so it is matching with the 1 of 1 and it is already highlighting this particular text box text, right? So simply take this CSS selector, then I will go to the VS Code, and here I will use the cy.get. So inside the get, we will add the CSS selector, and then so we are going to use the very first type of assertion called to.equal. So firstly we are identifying the element, and then we are using the then keyword, and we are storing this web element web element we are storing into the element. By using the element we are getting the text, then we are comparing it with the expected result. So now what I will do is simply I will call to the then keyword. So here I'll say then dot then, and inside the then, so I will add the variable as element. So it is a customized name, you can give any name over here. So that's it. Then add the function. So that's it. Now inside this function I'm using the expect keyword, followed by that I'm taking the element variable. By using the element variable, I'm calling to the method called text. So this is going to get the text of this particular web element, and then we will compare by using the to.equal. So inside the equal, we have to add our expected value. So simply I will copy it from this web page, and I'll paste it here in the form of string. So that's it, guys. Now if actual value and the expected values are matching, then our test will get pass. Otherwise our test will be failing. So I have saved this particular Cypress test. Now I will go to the test runner. So here I will select the spec file what we have created just now, and if you see here, so it is started executing the test, and it opened the web page whatever we have given the URL, and our test is passing here, right? So it is comparing this particular text from the web page and the expected result. So then it is matching. So so that's the reason it is getting passed. So let's try to pass so here I'll say just JavaScript tester stock. So this time actual and expected value is not matching. So in this case, our test will get failed. So let me rerun this particular Cypress test. So it has opened the web page and also it is failed. So it is trying to validate the actual and expected value. And if you see the error here, that is the assertion error. And basically it is displaying all the expected and actual values over here. So what is the value it is coming from the web page, and what is the value defined by the tester. So this is a one way of comparing the actual and expected value. So simply I will add the correct value now. So if I rerun the test, so this time again our test will pass. So meanwhile, let's check the second way of assertion. So simply we have to use the selector, followed by that we have to use the should method. Inside that we have to add the have.text and we have to add the expected result. So this is the second way of assertion in the Cypress. And if you see the test here, so our test is getting passed. So now let's see the second way of assertion in the Cypress. So once again I will identify the element. So simply I will copy this particular line and then so here we have to use the should. So inside the should, so we have to add the two values. So first one is have dot text and followed by that we have to add the expected value. So simply I will copy the above value and I'll add it here and I have saved it. So this is the second way of assertion in the Cypress test automation. Then I will go back to the test runner. Here I will rerun the test. So it is navigated to the web page and if you see the output here, so firstly it is comparing by using the to equal method and second time it is comparing the actual and expected value by using the have dot text. And if I add incorrect value inside the should method, that is the expected value, so our test will get failed. So this time we are passing incorrect expected value in the should method. So this time our test will get failed. So if I re-execute the test, so it will fail in the second assertion. So first assertion it will work fine. In the second assertion it will get failed because actual and expected results are not matching. And if you see here, so this is the assertion error and here you can see that actual and the expected result. So let's go to the VS Code and here I'll say JavaScript by tester stop. So that's it. I will rerun the test. And if you see here, so our test is running right now and eventually it will pass in within few seconds, right? If you look at the result also, our test is getting passed. Now let's look at the third way of assertion in the Cypress. So simply we are using the contain keyword. So I will copy the line number 11 and previously we have used a have.text but this time we are using the just contain keyword. So here I will add the contain keyword. So that's it guys. So right now we are passing the correct value in the expected result. So this time our test will get passed and also in the logs you can observe what type of assertion we have performed also. So this time we are using the contain and if you see the output here, so our test is getting passed and here you can see the contain. We have used a contain keyword. So right now we have specified correct value in the expected result. So let's try to pass incorrect value in the expected. So in this case, it will not match the expected and actual value. Automatically, assertion will be getting failed. So I will rerun the test case once again. So first two assertions will be getting passed and it will get failed in the third assertion. And if you see here, so first assertion is working fine and second assertion is also working fine and it is getting failed in the third assertion. So that's a assertion error. And also you can see the expected and the expected and the actual data over here. So now I will pass the correct data over here. So this time it will get passed. So right now test is getting executed and if you see here, so all the three assertions are getting passed now. Now let's look at the fourth type of assertion in the Cypress. So firstly we are identifying the element and then we are using the should and we are using the be visible. So in this case we are just checking the element is present or not. If element is not present, so our assertion will be getting failed, and if element is present and it will get passed. So I will copy the line number 13 once again. So basically we are identifying the element by using the CSS selector and then here I'll say should and inside the double quotes, so here I'll say b dot visible. So right now I'm passing the correct web element. So it will find the web element and our test will get passed. So let's run the test now. And next time we will pass the incorrect selector. In that case, it is unable to identify the web element and it will get failed. And if you look at the result, so all the 4 assertions are getting passed. So now this time what I will do is, so simply I will pass the incorrect web element. So I will rerun the test. So this time our our Cypress automation test will get failed in the 4th assertion. So first 3 assertions will get passed, and if you see here, so first three assertions are working fine and it is getting failed in the 4th assertion. So in this case we are checking element is present or not. If element is present, then our test will get passed, otherwise it will get failed. So I have modified the web element once again, and this time all the 4 assertions will work fine. And if you see here, all the 4 assertions are working fine, and also our test is getting passed. Now let's see the next type of assertion in the Cypress automation testing, that is have.html. So inside the should method we have to pass the have.html. So let's go to the VS Code. So simply I will copy the line number 13 and I will paste it here. And here we have to say have.html. So that's it. So firstly we have specified the selector, and by using the should method we are comparing the actual and expected value. So this time our test will work fine, and if I execute the test, so all the 5 assertions will work fine and also our test will get passed. And if you see here, all the assertions are getting passed, and also here you can see that we have used a have HTML. And let's look at the next type of assertion. So here what we are doing is we are checking this particular element is having this particular attribute or not. So now I will go to the web page, and if you see here this particular HTML details, DOM details, so it has the one attribute called value, and that has the JavaScript by tester stock, right? So firstly we are verifying this value attribute is there or not. In the second time we are going to validate this value attribute is having the JavaScript by tester stock or not. We are going to validate it. So let's check first whether value attribute is present or not. So I will go back to the once again VS Code here. So simply I will copy the whole line once again, and I will come to the next line and I will paste it here. And then I'm going to call to the one method called and. Inside the and, so here I'm adding the one keyword called have.attr, and then we have to specify the attribute name. So simply I will add the have dot. So I will bring this particular statement down. So here I'll say have.attr, and then I will specify the attribute name. So attribute name is value in our case. So this time just we are validating this particular web element is having this particular attribute or not. So next time we will validate this particular value attribute value also. So simply I will go back to the test runner and I will execute it. So this is the 6th type of assertion in the Cypress automation testing. And if you see the result here, our test is getting passed and all the assertions are working fine. And also you can see the last type of assertion. It is the have attribute. And similarly, so I will copy once again and we will assert the value of the value attribute. So here I'll say and followed by that, so I will go back to the syntax. And if you see the example over here, so we are using the and method, and inside that we are passing the include keyword and expected result. So here I will say and then here we have to add the include. And inside the include, we have to specify here we have to pass the two parameters. One is include keyword, and then followed by that, we have to add the expected result. So simply I will copy the expected result from the above line and I'll paste it here. In the line number 19, we are just validating the attribute. In the line number 22, we are validating the attribute and then also whether it contains the specified text message or not. We are validating it. So simply I will come back to the test runner and I will run the test once again. So now all the values are matching this time. So all the tests are getting passed. If you look at here, last assertion. So we have used a to include, right? So for example, if I passed incorrect data in the expected result, in this case, actual and expected value will be not matching and our test will get failed. I'm rerunning this test. So it will pass first set of assertions will be getting passed and it will fail in the last assertion. And if you see here, all the assertions are working fine and it is getting failed over in the last assertion. Now I will go back to the VS Code and I will fix this issue. So here I'll add the correct expected value in the and include keyword, and I will rerun the Cypress test once again. And this time all the assertions should get passed. And if you see here, our test is getting passed, and also you can see all the assertions are working fine. Now let's look at the last assertion type in the Cypress test automation. So in this case, we are simply comparing the number of characters in the actual and expected value. So it is very much similar to the first example, right? So here just we are calling 2 dot equal, but in this case we are calling the 2 dot have dot length. So here I will simply go to the VS Code and I will copy the line number 7, 8, 9. And then I will come back here and I'll paste it here. And here what I'm doing is simply I will delete this part. And here I'll say 2 dot have dot length. So here we are comparing the number of characters present in the actual and expected result. So if you count this JavaScript by tester stock, including the spaces, it has total 26 characters. So this time our test will get pass. So let me just cross verify the syntax. So that's it, guys. Now let's come back to the test runner. So here I'm rerunning the test, and now this time all the expected and actual values are matching. So if you look at the test, so our test is getting passed. And if you see the last assertion, we are using the have dot length, right? So basically we are comparing the number of characters in the actual and expected value. So these are the different types of assertions we have in the Cypress automation testing. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see selectors in the Cypress web automation testing. So there are different ways of writing the selectors. By using that, we can perform the actions on the any web element in the web application. So here is the first example. By using the attribute, we can identify the web page element. So here, firstly, you need to write the tag name, followed by that attribute is equal to the attribute value. So here I have taken the one example. By using that, I'm just printing the text of the web element. If you look at the next line, I'm using the cy.log and simply I'm printing the element dot text. So by using this method, I'm printing the text of this particular web element. In the similar way, we can identify the element by using the ID. For example, if HTML tag has the attribute as ID, so simply you can use that particular ID value. So simply you need to start with the hash, followed by that you need to enter the ID value. So by using that, so in this case also we are just printing the text of this particular web element. And moving on to the next type of selector is by using the class value, you can identify the element. And also when there are multiple elements you found when you write Xpath or the CSS selectors, so you can use the first, last, and index. So if you look at this particular first example, so firstly we are identifying the element by using the dot. So you can identify any element if that tag has the class as an attribute. So simply you can specify the class value here, and by using the dot operator you can specify the class value. So it will identify the element which has the class as a attribute and which has this particular value. And in this example, so by using the first, say for example, if your selector is matching with the 10 elements, in that case if you want to perform any action on the first element, so simply you can call to the first method, and here you can add the action statement. In the similar way, if you want to perform any action on the last element, so you can call to the last method, and here you can perform the action. In the similar way, say for example, if any selector is matching with the 10 elements, out of that, if you want to perform any action on the intermediate web element, so by using the index, you can perform the action on the element. So here, after the selector, I'm using the EQ. So inside this, I'm specifying the index. So by using this index, you can perform the any intermediate element if that selector is matching with the multiple elements. And next selector is starts with and ends with. So here, so these selectors are very much similar to the first one. If you see here, so firstly we are using the tag name followed by that attribute and value. So here also we are doing the almost same. For starts with, we are using the cap symbol. Say for example, we have the attribute called type as submit. So here sub is, it stays constant. So MIT is always getting changed in those cases. So wherever you find starting value is constant, so simply you can specify the starting value here. So by using the starts with, you can identify the web element, and then you can perform the action. In the similar way, if you know the any attribute which has the ending value is constant, in that cases you can use the ends with concept, and simply you can add the dollar symbol at the end of the attribute. So another example, we have the contains. So this is also very much similar to the starts with and ends with. So in this case, we are using the tag name followed by attribute and value, but here you can observe we are using the one special operator called star. So by using this one, it is able to identify the element. So in these cases, all three cases, we are specifying the partial value. So in the first example, we are specifying the starting value of the attribute, and in the second example, we are specifying the ending value of the attribute. In this contains, we are specifying the partial value. Say for example, if we are having an attribute, if we are having an attribute that has a dynamic starting value and a dynamic ending value, and if intermediate value is remains constant, in those cases you can use the contains. Or if you know the partial value, in those cases you can use the contains also. In the similar way, we can use the Cypress contains method as well. So if you look at the syntax, we are using the Cypress, that is a cy command dot contains. So here you can add the partial text or the link text. So by using this, you can perform any action on the web element. The last one we are having is by using the tag name, we can identify the web page element, and by using that, you can simply perform the any action. So in this example, this is a tag name, and after that I'm using the EQ. By using the index approach, we are performing the click operation. Now I will go to the VS Code. Let's see all these examples with the real-time web application. Here I'll quickly create one JavaScript spec file. So here I'll say Cypress selectors test dot cy dot gs. So that's it. And inside this JavaScript spec file, I'm going to create the one test suite and one sample test. So here I will use the describe. So by using the describe, I will create the one test suite. So here I'll say test suite name as Cypress selectors suit. So that's it. I will put the comma and I will add the function here. So that's it. And inside the suit, let's create a one test by using the it block. So here I'll say it, and here I will add the test name. So here I'll add the test name as Cypress selector test. Then I will put comma, and here I will say the function. That's it, guys. So we have the test suite by using the describe keyword, and we are having one test by using the it block. Now let's discuss the scenario. So here I will go to the google.com, and here I will search with the JavaScript by testers talk. And once we got the result, so simply I will take the some part of the URL and I will open the another tab and I will add it here. So firstly we will go to this Google page and we will identify the this particular search text box, and where some text is displayed we will get this particular text by using the text method. So firstly let's navigate to this Google page first. So I will copy this URL and I will go to the VS Code, and here I will use the cy command dot visit. So by using the visit I will navigate to the URL, and after going to the URL I will have to identify the web page element. So by using the first approach, that is by using the attribute approach, we are going to identify the element and we are going to print the text of that particular web element. So here I will inspect this element, and if you see here, which has the tag name as text area, and there are multiple attributes and values. So in this case we are using the type is equal to search. So simply I will copy this type is equal to search, and firstly we have to use the tag name. So here I'll say tag name first, text area, and followed by that I will add the attribute is equal to value. So type is equal to search. So if you see here, it is matching with one of one element and it is highlighting in the left side respective web element also. So simply I will copy this selector, then I will go to the VS Code, and here in the single quotation I'm adding the selector, and then I'm using the then method. So here I'm storing this element into the variable called element, and then I'm adding the function. So that's it, guys. Now I will print the this particular text from the web element. So what we have identified just now. So here I will use the cy.log. By using the log, we are going to print the text of the web element. So here I will say message as text from Google. So that's it. And I will use the plus operator to add the text. So I will take this element variable, and here I will call to the method called text. That's it, guys. Now our test is ready. Now I will go to the Cypress test runner, and let me just click on this specs. So here you can see that Cypress selectors test. Simply click on the spec file what we have created just now. So our tests are getting loaded. So firstly it is navigated to the this particular Google page, and it is trying to get the element. Then it is going to print the text of the web element. And if you see the output here, so our test is getting passed, and also in the log it is printing the message text from Google, and it is printing the JavaScript by tester stock, right? In the similar way, so let's go to the second type of selector. So in this second type, we are using the hash, where HTML tag has the attribute as tag and which has a respective value. So by using this syntax, we are going to identify the element and we are going to print the text of the element. In the similar way, if you look at the same web element, right? So it has the multiple attributes, and also it has the one attribute called ID. So let's search for the ID. So I will remove the XPath. This I will remove the CSS selector. And if you see this particular text area, which has multiple attributes, so there is a one attribute called ID. And if you see here, so there is an attribute called ID. So we will use this particular ID value. So here I will go to the search and simply I will add the hash and the ID value, right? So here I have used a hash operator followed by the ID attribute value. And if you see here, so it is matching with 1 of 1 and it is matching with the respective web element. So simply I will copy this particular selector, and in the similar way before that, let's use the same statement. I will copy the all these three statements, and here I will say text from Google 1 and text from Google 2. So here I will add the CSS selector. We have identified an element by using the ID. So I will take this CSS selector and I will add it in the get method. So that's it, guys. So firstly, we have identified an element by using the attribute. And in the second case, we are identifying an element by using the ID. So let's rerun the test. So this time also, it is going to print the web element text. And if you see here, so firstly, it is printing the text as JavaScript by tester stock. So first time it is identified by using the attribute. Second time, Cypress is identifying the element by using the ID, and it is able to get the text of the web element. Now let's move on to the next type of selectors. So if you look at the third one, so where we are talking about the class, first, last, and intermediate. So let's look at the Google page here. So if I inspect the videos link, right, so which has the multiple tags and attributes, if I go a little bit up, so which has the class as the value, right? So if I take this particular class value and in the find, simply I will add the dot, and I will add the respective class value. So right now it is matching with the all these elements. And if I go inside, so there are anchor tags, 3 anchor tags. And first anchor tag is highlighting on the videos, and second anchor tag is highlighting the GitHub, and third anchor tag is highlighting the YouTube. So simply I will add the one greater than symbol here, and I will add the A. Right now it is matching with the 4 elements. The first element is videos, second element is GitHub, and third element is YouTube, and fourth element is images, right? Say for example, so right now we are identifying an element by using the class, that is a dot operator and followed by the class value. And simply I will take this particular CSS selector. If I want to click on the first element, so simply you can call to the first method and you can perform the any action. Right now we are clicking on that particular first link, that is the videos link. So I will go to the VS Code now, and here I will say cy dot get. Firstly we will add the selector, and then here I'm calling to the method called first. Then I'm calling to the method called click. So we are performing the click operation. So that's it, guys. Now let me go to the VS Code, test runner, and I will run the Cypress test now. So it should click on the videos. Right now it is not yet clicked. So this is the initial page. And if you see here, so automatically video tab is getting highlighted now. And if you look at the test also, our test is getting passed, right? So similarly, so in this scenario, if I see the fourth element, so it is highlighting the images. So let me show you once again. So this is the first element. So right now we have clicked on the videos. So this is the second element. this is the third element, that is a YouTube, and fourth element is images. For example, if I want to click on the last element, that is images, so you can perform the any operation on that particular element. So by calling to the method called last here. So simply you can copy this. So I will comment this particular line, and here I will say above as first element, and I will copy this once again and I'll paste it down here. So here I'll say last element. So this time we are clicking on the images button. So here I'll say last. That's it, guys. Now I will run the Cypress test once again. So this time we should be able to click on the images button or images link. So if you see here, so our Cypress test is clicking on the images, and also you can look at the test status. Our test status is getting passed. So this is working as expected. Now let's use the index approach. So here I will say index, and I will comment this part. So if you look at these web elements, say for example, if I want to click on the GitHub or YouTube, so by using the index, you can click on this. You can perform any action on the particular web element. So that is not an issue. So always index starts with the 0. So in this case, 0 is nothing but the videos, 1 is nothing but the GitHub, 2 is nothing but the YouTube, and 3 is nothing but the images. Say for example, I want to click on the GitHub. So in this case, I will specify the index as the 1. So here I will go to the VS Code, and here I will say dot eq, then I will specify the index as 1. So that's it. So simply I will rerun the Cypress test once again. So this time it will click on the GitHub button or a GitHub link. And if you see here, so GitHub is getting highlighted and also our test is getting passed, right? So we are able to click on the GitHub link successfully. So this is how you can use the class first method and last method, and by using the index approach, you can perform the action on the any of the elements when element is matching with the multiple elements. Now let's see how to write an selectors for the starts with, ends with, and contains. For starts with, we have to specify the starting attribute value, and in the ends with, we have to specify the ending attribute value, and we have to use the respective symbols for the starts with and the ends with, and for the contains also. So where we are specifying the some partial attribute value. So let's see all these three examples. I will go to the Google page here. So I will inspect the search icon here. And if you look at this particular element, which has the button, and if I scroll a little bit right side, which has the type as the attribute and the value as submit. So here I'm just writing a simple selector for the starts with. So I will use the type attribute, and I will add the starting value of the type attribute. So here I will say, firstly I will write the tag name as button, and followed by that I'm adding the attribute name as type, and I will add the cap symbol. So we are right now writing the CSS selector for the starts with. So in the double quotes, I'm specifying the just sub. So here I'm adding the starting value of the type attribute. So if in some cases what happens, so ending value will be always dynamic. So it will be keep on changing. In those cases, you can use the starts with concept. So I will go to the VS Code now, and I will comment this part, and I will come down here. So here I will add the comment as starts with, and I will start using the cy command dot. Here I'll say get. Firstly, let's identify the element by using the get. So once we get the element, so simply we will perform the click operation on the element. So that's it. Now I will go back to the test runner, and here I will rerun the Cypress test. So this is the initial screen. So it has not clicked on the search icon. So after clicking on the search icon, so you can observe these results. So it will be different sometimes. So sometimes it will display the same results. So it looks like it is already clicked on the search icon. So let's rerun the test once again. So this is the initial page. And if you see the that particular icon, so it has already clicked on the search icon. And also it is our test is getting passed here, right? In the similar way, let's use the ends with concept. So if you see the attribute type, so simply I will add the last three characters, that is MIT, and you need to add the after the attribute dollar symbol to identify the element by using the ends with. And if you see here, so it is matching with the search icon, and also it is matching with the one of one element. So simply I will copy this. So here I will comment this part, and then here I will say ends with. So here we are adding the ending attribute value by using the Cypress command. So here I'm calling to the method called get, and I'm adding the selector that is ends with. Then we are going to click on the particular element. That's it, guys. Now I will run the Cypress test. So this is the initial screen of the Google page in our case. So if you can observe over here, so it is clicked on the search, and so it is loading the page, and also you can see the results here. So I will rerun once again. So you can observe this particular search icon. Whenever it is clicking on this particular search icon, so it is getting highlighted the this search icon. So I will rerun this particular test. And now this is the initial screen. You can observe to the search icon. And if you see here, so it is clicking on the search icon. Now let's use the contains approach. By using that, we can write the CSS selector. So I will go back to the our Google page. So here, if you see the attribute and value, so I will not write the starting letter S and ending letter T. So I will specify the some partial text of the type attribute. So I will specify the UB and MI. And here I will enter the star as the operator, and here I'll say UB MI. That's it. So it is able to locate the element by using the contains also. So you can copy this selector, and I will go back to the VS Code. So here I will say contains. Here I'll say CSS selector, and then I will add the CSS selector value. So that's it, guys. Now I will run the Cypress test once again. And this is the initial screen. So still it is loading the page, and it is clicking on the search icon, and we are getting the results. And also you can see the test output also. So our test is getting passed, right? So this is the contains approach of the CSS selector. Now let's see an example for the Cypress contains selector. So here in this Google page, so if I search with the test stock partial text or the link text, if I mention inside the contains, so it will click on the wherever test stock link is available, simply it will click on the respective link. So here I will go to the VS Code, and here I will say, so here I will add the comment as contains, and here I will add the Cypress. So after the cy command, here I'm using cy dot contains command. Inside this one, I'm adding the link text, that is a testers talk, and simply we are clicking on the that particular YouTube channel by using the click method. So that's it. Now I will go back to the test runner, and here I will run the Cypress test. So after going to the Google page, it should navigate to the tester stock YouTube channel. And if you see here, so it is navigated to the tester stock tester stock YouTube channel. Now let's look at the next selector. By using the tag name, you can identify the any web element and then you can perform the action. So for this example, so here I'm navigating to the YouTube, and here I'll say testers talk. So here I will go to this particular YouTube channel, that is a testers talk channel, and here I will inspect the home or videos. And if you look at the DOM details, so I will go little above here, and if you see the tag name, so this is something which is unique tag name. So simply I will copy this tag name, and if I come down little bit, so under this particular tp-yt-paper-tab, under this particular tag, there is a subtag called div. So which is exactly highlighting the respective element. If you look at on the left side, so right now it is highlighting the videos. So after identifying this particular element by using the tag name, so I will add the div tag. So here I will press Ctrl F. So here I have added the first tag name, and next I will add the another tag name called div. So it is matching with the very first element, that is home, and if I press enter, it is highlighting the videos, and if I'm pressing another enter, so it is highlighting the shorts, and it is now live, so on. So it is matching all these elements over here, right? So let's try to click on the videos. Once we navigate to this particular URL, so we will click on the videos by using the index approach. So I will copy this URL first. So we have to navigate to this particular URL, and here I will comment this part, and I will go above, and here I will add the comments from line number 4 to the line number 12 as the multi-line comment. Now, firstly, we have to navigate to the URL by using the cy.visit, and here I'm adding the URL. That's it. After going to URL, so now we have to identify the element by using the get. So in the single quotation inside the get method, we will specify the locator. So I will copy this locator. So I will add the locator here. And if you see here in this case, so it is matching with total 10 elements. So we want to perform an action on the videos link, right? So here 0 is nothing but the home, 1 is nothing but the videos, right? So simply I will specify the index by using the EQ method. So here I'll say 1. Then simply you can call to the click method, so which will perform the click operation. So that's it, guys. Now I will go back to the Cypress test runner, and here I will rerun the test. So firstly, it will navigate to the tester stock YouTube channel, and then it will navigate to the, right now it is in the home, and then it is clicked on the videos tab, and our test is getting passed, if you see on the left side. So let's try to click on the shorts also. So if I specify the index as 2, it will click on the shorts also. So I have saved the code, and here I will run the Cypress test once again. So this time it will click on the shorts link, and if you see the on the right side, so it is able to click on the shorts link, and also our test is getting passed. So this is how you can identify the element by using the tag name. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to use Xpath in the Cypress web automation testing. Cypress directly will not support for the Xpath. So if you look at this VS Code, if I go to one of the JS file, and if I use cy.xpath, so I'm not getting any suggestions here, right? So to use the Xpath in the Cypress web automation testing, so you need to follow these 3 steps. First, we have to install the plugin called Cypress Xpath, and then in the support folder, so we have the e2e.js file. We have to include this particular statement require Cypress Xpath, and then we can start using the Cypress dot, that is a cy dot Xpath, and then we can add the Xpath inside the Xpath method. So let's start installing this particular Cypress Xpath. So here I will go to the project folder, and here I will open the command prompt, and here I'll say npm install and then -d Cypress -xpath. So that's it. So it will take few seconds and it will install the Cypress Xpath. And so we got the plugin got installed. Once you install the plugin, so we have to go to the VS Code, and here under support folder there is a class called so there is a JavaScript file called e2e.js. So here we have to add the require. So here I'll say Xpath. Then here you need to add the statement called require, and under the require you need to add the Cypress Xpath. So that's it. So once you add this particular statement inside the e2e.js file, simply close the JS file. And if I come back to the one of the JS file, if I type cy.xpath, now I am getting the Xpath suggestion, right? Now let's quickly create a test suite and test, and inside that we will create the Xpath locator flow. Here I'm adding the .js file as Cypress Xpath test cy.js. So that's it. So simply I will go to the another JS file and I will copy the whole code, and I will come back to the Cypress Xpath test, and here I will delete the not required code, and here I will update the first suite name as Cypress Xpath suite, and here I will add the test name as Cypress Xpath test. So that's it. So I will delete all these and I will delete the rest of the code. So that's it, guys. Now let's discuss the manual scenario first, and we will come back to this VS Code. So we will navigate to this Google page firstly, and I'll copy this URL and I'll put it inside the visit method. That's it. Now we are going to identify the search text box. So here we are performing total 2 scenarios. First, we will identify the search text box, and we will clear this particular search text box, and we will enter some data here, some keywords. So that's the first scenario. Second scenario is by using the Xpath, we will identify the another element called YouTube, and we will click on this particular YouTube link also. So let's see the first flow now. I will inspect this particular search text box, and if you see the HTML tag details, it has many attributes and values. So here I'm referring the one attribute called type is equal to search. So simply I will copy this and I will press Ctrl F. So here I'm writing an Xpath starting with 2/* So here you can specify the tag name or star, and followed by that inside the square brackets you need to write the @ followed by attribute name, and you need to assign the respective value. So that's it. So after entering the Xpath, so it is highlighting with the text box. So simply I will copy this Xpath and I will go to the VS Code. So here I'll use the cy cypress command dot Xpath, and in the single quotation I will add the Xpath here, and then so I want to clear this particular text whatever is displayed, then we will enter something here. So here I will call the dot clear method. So this will deletes the text which is there previously. Then in the same element, in the same XPath, I'm going to type something. So here I'll say type method, and here I will add the text as API testing by tester stock. So that's it, guys. So this is a scenario right now. So next scenario is we will identify the this particular YouTube link, and we will click on the YouTube link by using the Cypress XPath. Now I will go to the VS Code and I will select the JavaScript file which we have created just now, and it is started the test execution. So now it is loaded the Google page, and it has already cleared the text, and it is searching with the API testing by, sorry, just it is entering the text in the text box. So that's it, guys. And if you look at the test status, our test is getting passed, right? Now I will come back to the browser, and now this time I'm going to write another XPath which will identify the this particular link, that is the YouTube. So after going to this particular Google page, we are going to click on the YouTube link by using the XPath. So simply I will enter first two forward slash, and followed by that I'm entering the star. Inside the square brackets I'm entering text method equal to, by using the text method I'm going to identify the YouTube link. So here I'm entering the YouTube, and if you see here on the left side, that particular element is getting highlighted. So we are able to identify the web element by using the XPath. We have used a text method. So after clearing this particular text box and we are entering something in that particular text box, then I'm going to use another cy command dot XPath. So here I'm adding the XPath what we have written just now, and here I'll say just click. So this will perform the click operation. That's it, guys. Now I will go back to the Cypress test runner and I will run the test once again. So this is the first scenario got executed, and if you look at the next scenario, so it has clicked on the YouTube also. Even you can click on the GitHub also. If you specify here GitHub, so it will click on the GitHub also, right? So simply I will copy this particular XPath and I will paste it inside the XPath method. So now this time our Cypress command will click on the GitHub link at the end of the test. So this is how you can use the XPath in the Cypress web automation testing. So it is throwing some error. So let me re-execute once again. So it is very easy, guys. Just you need to install the one plugin, and after that you can start using the cy.xpath. And if you see here, so finally it has clicked on the GitHub link, right? So and also you can see the test status. Our test is getting passed. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to run the Cypress test from the Visual Studio Code. So you can install one extension called Cypress tests for the VS Code, and after that you can run the Cypress test from the VS Code. So here I'm opening my VS Code, that is a Visual Studio Code, and here you can go to the extensions, and here search for the Cypress tests for VS Code. So that's it. So here you will get the very first result, Cypress tests for VS Code, and simply click on install, and that's it, done. And then you can go to the folder structure of your project, And here simply close this extension. Now, so simply here I will press the Control Shift P and simply type the Cypress. So recently I have executed my Cypress test in the UI mode. So that's the reason it is showing recently used. So after typing the Cypress here, you can run your Cypress test in the UI mode, and also you can run your test in the headless mode. So right now I'm trying to run my Cypress test in the UI mode. So it basically brings up the test runner and where you can select all the configurations. And here you need to select the browser, and that's it. And then you can select the whatever the JS file you want to execute it. And this will execute all the tests which are there inside the Cypress selector test. So that's it, guys. So in this scenario, what we are doing is we are going to the this Google page, and we are simply clicking on the JavaScript by tester stock. Tester stock. So this is how you can execute the Cypress test from the VS Code or the Visual Studio Code. In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to work with drop-down list in the Cypress web automation testing. So there are three ways to select the drop-down value. First one is by using the index, we can click on the drop-down value. And second one is visible text. Third one is by using the value, we can select the drop-down value from the drop-down list. Now let's look at the manual scenario. Then we will automate it in the couple of minutes. So I will navigate to this particular URL, that is example.cypress.io, and followed by that commands and actions. If I scroll a little bit down, we are having the one drop-down list. So from this particular drop-down list, we will be selecting the any of the values by using the index, visible text, and value. Now let's go to the VS Code. Let's quickly create the one JavaScript spec file. So here I'll say dropdown test.cy.js. So here I have created a JavaScript spec file, and simply I will copy the one of the test from the other JS file, and I'll paste it here. So I will delete all other stuff which are not required. And here I will update the test suite name. So here I'll say dropdown list suite, and here I will update the test name as dropdown list test. So that's it. So firstly, we will navigate to this particular URL. So I will copy this URL and I will go to the VS Code. So I will add the URL here. So by using the visit command, so simply we are navigating to the given URL. And after that, so we have to inspect this particular drop-down value. So that is a drop-down list element. And if you see here, so this has the select tag. So firstly, we have to identify this select tag. So in my case, I'm identifying this particular select tag first by using the class value. So simply I will use the dot, followed by that I'm specifying so let me scroll a little bit down. So these first 7 elements are matching with the script, and after that at last it is matching with our drop down list, right? So let's take this particular class. No need to worry about the other first 7 matches. So it is matching with only one element, that is the drop down list. So simply I will use the cy dot, here I'll say get. So I will add the selector here, and after adding the selector, so simply I am calling to the method called select. So here I can pass index, visible text, or I can pass the value. So let's see the first index approach. And if you see this particular drop-down list, so which has the 4 values, right? The first value is selected fruit, and the second value is apples, oranges, bananas. So based on the index, first we will select the drop-down value. So here 0 is nothing but the selected fruit, and 1 is nothing but apples, and 2 is nothing but the oranges, and so on. Say for example, I want to select the apples. So here I need to pass the index as the 1. So simply I will pass the index as 1 here. So that's it. So this is by using the index approach, we are selecting the drop down list value. So that's it, guys. Now I will go back to the Cypress test runner, and here I will open the my JS file. So currently it is loading the tests. And if you look at here, so it is started executing the test also. And if you see the right side screen, so it has selected the apples, right? So if I refresh this particular page, so default value is different. So if you see here, so this is a default value. So we have selected the apple from the drop-down list by using the index. So now let's try to select the, so this time we are going to select the oranges. So in this case, I need to pass the index as, so this is 0, 1, and 2. To select the oranges, I need to pass the index as 2. So simply I will pass the index as 2 here. And that's it. I will come back to the test runner, and then I will run the test. And if you see here, so it has selected the oranges. Now let's see the second approach, how you can pass the visible text. And if you see this particular drop-down list, so simply you can pass the visible text here. Say for example, I want to select a bananas, right? Simply you can pass the bananas directly in the select method. So I will copy this particular part and I will comment it as of now. So this time we are going to select the bananas by using the visible text. So here I'll say visible text. So that's it. In the single quotation, I will pass the visible text. So here I'll say bananas. So that's it. So let me remove the another comma here. So this time we are going to select the bananas from the drop down value. So by using the visible text. So here I rerun the test, and if you see here, bananas got selected. And so this is the second approach. Now let's look at the third approach by using the value, how you can select the drop down value. So here I'll say value. And if you inspect this particular element right, so here you will get the list of options tag. And in this option tag, you'll be seeing the one attribute called value. To select the particular value, say for example, if I want to select the oranges, so I need to pass this particular value attribute value here. So let's select the oranges. So simply I will copy this value attribute value and I'll come back to the VS Code. So here I will pass the value from the HTML details. So that's it, guys. Now I will rerun the test once again. So this time we are going to select the oranges. So if you see here, oranges got selected and also our test is getting passed. And similar way, let's try to select the some other value this time. So here I will try to select the apples this time. So I will pass the value attribute value. And that's it. And if I rerun the test, so our test will work fine. And we are able to select the apples this time. And also our test is getting passed. So this is how you can work with the drop-down list in the Cypress web automation testing.
In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to handle iframes in the Cypress web automation testing. So let's create a simple file here. So inside the project root folder, I'm adding a file called iframes demo.py. HTML. So which has the iframe basically. So simply I will copy this and I'll paste it inside the .html file. So no need to worry about this code. This code is already available in the GitHub page. So that's it. I have created a .html file which has the iframe. So after that, here I'm creating a simple file inside the E2E. The file name is iframe test.cy.js. So that's it. Now, so here I'm creating a simple one test, and here I will delete the not required code, and then I will provide the test suite name as iframe suite, and then here I will say test name as iframe test. So that's it. So now I will open the .html file. Here I will go to the file explorer and I will open the .html file just now what we have created. And if I inspect this particular any of the element inside the this particular grid, say for example here I'm inspecting the about, and if you see here, so this is the anchor tag, and if I go up a little bit, so here you will be seeing the iframe tag. So directly I cannot perform any action on this particular elements. Say for example it can be about, download, any elements within the this particular grid. I cannot perform the actions directly. So let's write a quickly one test, and there it will never perform the any action on this particular elements, and after that we'll see what is the resolution to handle the iframes in the Cypress web automation testing. So simply I will navigate to this particular HTML file. So by using the visit command, so here I'll say dot slash. So here I'm writing dot slash because my iframes demo.html file is present inside the our root folder. So after that I will specify the file name iframes demo.html. That's it. Firstly we are navigating to the one of the page, that's the HTML page, and then by using the cy dot, here I'm using the contents, and here I will specify the link text, so which is there inside the grid. So here simply I will pass the about. I want to click on the about this time, right? You can try to click on even downloads also. Later we will see in this same session. We will try to perform the action on the downloads also. So here I'll say about as of now, and here I'll say the action as click. I want to click on that particular about link. That's it. So if I run this particular test from the test runner, so let me reload the spec file, and I will select the iframe test.cy.js file. So this time we will be unable to identify this particular about link, and if you see here, we are unable to identify this particular element, right? So solution for this is, firstly we have to install the one plugin called Cypress iframe. So in my case I have already installed, so simply you can type npm install -d cypress -iframe. So here it has added two packages, and second time I tried installing it, so you will get the message like this. So it is up to date, right? So that's it. Simply you need to install this particular Cypress iframe plugin. After the installation, it will take just few seconds. It will take just 3 to 4 seconds. And once the installation is completed, so you need to add the one import statement in the JavaScript spec file. So here I will go to the JS file and I will add this particular import statement. And here I will go to the top of the JS file, and here I'll say import, followed by that you need to say Cypress hyphen iframe. That's it. So far, we have installed the plugin called Cypress iframe, and then we have imported the Cypress hyphen iframe. Now we need to load the iframe by using the ID or names. So let's get the first name. So here I will go to the HTML file what we have created just now. And if you see the iframe tag, which has the ID and name also. So simply I will use this particular attribute and I'll copy this and I'll press Ctrl F. And here I will put the attribute and value in the square bracket. And if you see here, so it is highlighting that particular grid or the particular iframe. Simply copy this, and here in this VS Code, so after opening any URL or any of the website, so in our case we are taking the localhost URL. So here I'm using the cy dot frame loaded. So inside this method, simply we have to pass the frame name or frame ID. So right now we are passing the frame name. So next time we will try to pass the frame ID also. And after that, once you added the frame loaded, and whenever you are performing any action on the element which is there inside this particular iframe, so simply you need to add the another statement after the cy. So here you have to add the iframe. So this is a method, and after that simply say dot. That's it, guys. So we are done. So we are done with these three steps. We have installed the plugin, we have imported the statement, then we have loaded the frame by using the names. Now let's go to the test runner. Now let's run the Cypress test now. So we should be able to click on the about, right? And if you see here, our test is getting passed, and also we are able to click on the about also, right? So let's rerun once again, and our test is working fine, right? We are able to click on this time. So by you installing the Cypress iframe. Now let's try to click on the downloads. So instead of here, I will replace about with the downloads. So that's it. Now I will rerun the Cypress test once again. So this time we should be able to click on the downloads. If you see here, so we have clicked on the downloads. So this is a one way how you can load the frame by using the name of the frame. So now this time we will use the ID to load the frame. So simply I will comment this part and I will come down, and here we will pass the ID of the frame. So here I will go to the HTML details. So if you see here, so it has the ID as button frame. So here I'll say hash, and I will write the value as button frame. And if you see here, so we are able to locate the frame. Simply copy this particular locator, that is a selector, and paste it inside the frame loading. So here I'll say frame ID. That's it. So still our test should work fine, because this time we are loading a frame by using the ID of the frame. Here I will come back to the test runner and I will rerun the Cypress test. And if you see here, so we are able to click on the downloads, and also our test is working fine. So this is how you can work with the iframes in the Cypress web automation testing.
In this Cypress tutorial, we are going to see how to scroll up, how to scroll down in the Cypress web automation testing. Let's look at the manual scenario first. So here I will go to the youtube.com, and here I'm searching for the JavaScript by testers talk. So here I will get the first playlist. So here I will go to the JavaScript by testers talk playlist. So let's wait for a few seconds. So it is got loaded. That's it. So here we will scroll down till end of the playlist, and here we will click on the last second video, that is a JavaScript 31 inheritance with examples. So we'll see how to scroll down and how to click on the this particular link by using the Cypress. Now I will navigate to the VS Code, and here I will simply delete all this stuff. So just now I tried this scenario. Simply I will delete this JS file as well. So let's create a quickly one JS file inside the E2E folder. So here I'll say scroll down up dot cy dot js. So that's it. So inside this particular JS file, I will add the one simple test. So here I'll copy paste the old code, and which has the skeleton of the test suite and test. So let's add the suite name here. So here I'll say scroll up down suite, and in the similar way here I'll add the test name as scroll test. So first we have to navigate to the this particular URL. Let's copy the URL, and here I will add it inside the visit method. That's it. So once we navigated to this particular URL, so let's wait for some time because it is a heavy loaded application. It has many videos. So that's the reason here I'm giving the wait as 5000 milliseconds. That's it. Now we will identify this particular video by using the visible link text. So simply I will copy this particular text, and I will go back here. Here I will use the cy dot contains method. So inside the contains method, I will add the text, whatever we copied it from the web page. And after that, so here I'm saying scroll into view method. So simply I'm calling to the method called scroll into view, and then followed by that, I'm calling another method called should. So here I'm saying inside the single quote b dot visible. So here I'm saying to this particular Cypress command, scroll into view until this particular text is found in the playlist. So that's where I have added the should. Until this text is visible, simply scroll in the playlist. That's it. Once you found the video, simply click on that particular video. That's it, guys. And then at the end, I'm calling the click method. So that's it, guys. So we have written just 3 lines of code. In the first line, we are navigating to the playlist, and here we are waiting for the 5 seconds. Then here we are scrolling in the playlist. Once we got the video with this particular title, then we are simply clicking on that particular video. That's it, guys. Now I will go to the Cypress test runner, and here I will open the JS file which is created just now, and it has started the test execution. And if you see here, it is navigated to the playlist, and after navigating to that particular URL, so it is waiting for some time, and then finally it is clicking on this particular video which we have mentioned in our test, right? And if you see the test status also, our test is getting passed. So here you can mention even another video title also. Say for example, I want to click on the JavaScript full course overview. So simply you can copy this text, that's a visible text, and put it inside the contains method. So now this time let's try to click on the last video in the playlist. And now I will come back to the Cypress test runner, and I will run the test. So if you look at this one, so it has clicked on the last video in the playlist, right? And if you see here, so this is the last video, JavaScript course overview, and you can cross verify. So this is the last video in the playlist. So our test is working fine, and if you see the test status, so our test is getting passed. So this is how you can scroll up or down in the Cypress web automation testing. Hi friends, this is Bakappa. Welcome to Cypress full course. You can access all the exercise which we have done in the Cypress full course. You can Google it with Bakappa and GitHub. And here you can go to the tester stock, Bakappa and GitHub, and our repositories. And here search with Cypress. And you will get the Cypress tutorial full course. Go inside that particular repository. And here you can simply click on the code. And by using this URI, you can get the whole repository code in your local machine.